Hello, I'm Stephen Childs of virtualvoicelessons.net, and I would like to welcome you to another lesson in our phonetic series entitled English Vowels Part 2. In our first lesson on the introduction to English vowels, we looked at the two most central vowels that we use in the English language, which were the pure vowel ah and its mirror opposite e. We then also looked at the combination of the two, which was our first diphthong, the vowel I. As you may remember, diphthongs are vowels that are made up of two vowel sounds, where the first vowel sound is held the longest. There are 5 diphthongs altogether. Today, we are simply going to look at 3 more vowels and 1 syllable, which of course is a vowel and a consonant combined, and then discuss the difficulties they present to the singer. Remember that knowledge of vowels is essential to good overall singing, because when we sing, we are in fact singing vowels. We are not actually singing words per se, because it is impossible to sing whole words at the same time. Rather, we break the words up into smaller pieces called phonemes, which are either vowels or consonants. And because consonants cannot actually be sung but rather are articulated, we are then left with vowel sounds. And if we are not aware of what to sing when we are singing it, the act of singing becomes a guessing game. What comes out of our mouths is by chance, right or wrong, and all too often cannot be easily repeated when it is right. Also, style itself within the act of singing is also very dependent on vowel sound production. The conscious act of shaping vowels differently than what they were originally intended makes what we are singing unique, especially when it is repeatable. But again, all of these things require a knowledge of what we are singing when we are singing it. So let's begin to look at our next set of vowels. Within our system of English vowels, 2 out of the 14 vowels are known as medial vowels. In other words, they are caught in between a pair of closely related vowels. Medial ah is one of these 2 mid-vowels and is the reason behind many regional accents within the United States, as well as accents heard in non-American-born English-speaking people. This vowel is found in words such as can't, faster, dancing, hammer, and band. Within American regionalisms, we hear this sound distorted so much and so often that it has become the driving force behind certain accents. In the South, we may hear people say, "I can't stand it," which is part of the whole Southern drawl. In areas in the mid-eastern sections of the United States, such as New Jersey, we often hear, "I can't stand it," which is a little more nasal and squeezed off. In countries such as England, there really is no medial ah sound at all. So any of these words would have medial ah replaced with regular ah. I can't would be replaced with I can't, and so on. To pronounce this vowel properly, we have to realize what it is in between. It is in between the sounds eh and the sound ah. If you want to find the perfect formation of this vowel, I suggest you take any word that contains medial ah and replace it with the sound eh. The word hand, for instance, would start off as hand. And you will repeat this fake word slowly, morphing it into the word hand. Let me give you an example. Hand, 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 hand. Remember that in singing, we really do not want to have our voices laden with any regionalism. Many times people have asked me about singers such as Ozzy Osbourne. He was known for his very thick Cockney accent. Yet when he sings, it doesn't seem to be present at all. The reason for this is that accents have a lot to do with the way consonants react against the vowels. So when the vowels are elongated from speech into singing, the accent is not present. In other words, speech is more affected by consonants than singing is. But the main reason for this is that, quite frankly, Ozzy Osbourne is in actuality an overall good singer and controls many areas within his voice, including his accent. There are many singers who I've heard over the years who unfortunately do have their accents present within their singing voice, and I can tell you it does sound odd and is also very distracting. Some of you are studying with us from other countries, including England, Germany, and Norway. And it is my suggestion to you to please do take your time with this vowel in particular, because it is one of the most accent-causing vowels in English. The mechanics behind this vowel are as follows. The mouth opening for medial ah is halfway. This alone corrects many of the regional difficulties found with this vowel. So keep that mouth open at least halfway. This vowel's secondary projection point is in the middle of the hard palate. As you may remember, all vowels have a starting aiming point within the mouth, which is in the back of the hard palate. But they may also have a secondary projection point or aiming point where the vowel ends up. For medial ah, it is again in the middle of the hard palate. So it starts in the back of the mouth and ends up in the middle. It's interesting that this vowel's name is very descriptive of its nature. Medial, of course, means middle. And so many facets about it suggest middle ground. It is in between two vowels, which are the sounds eh and the sounds ah. The mouth is open halfway, and its secondary projection point is in the middle of the hard palate. So medial ah is, in fact, medial ah. The vowel A is also a very common vowel for regional errors. The difficulty with this vowel lies in the fact that it is a diphthong. And not only is it a diphthong, but the two vowels that comprise A are very closely related. They are the sounds eh and the sound e. What our mind often wants to do is try to sing A like it's one thing. The fact is, it is two things. It is absolutely the sound eh for 99% of its length, and then it is absolutely the sound e for the last 1%. If I were to sing the word hey for a whole minute, I would sing eh for 59 seconds, and then for the last second sing e. Now, what can throw us off with this sound is when it is surrounded by other words that contain the single vowel e. A sentence like, I feel the way she feels. The word way, which of course contains the vowel a, is smack dab in the middle of three words that contain the single vowel e. And because a has e in it, we have the tendency to make the whole thing e-ish. Here's a demonstration of this sentence done incorrectly and then correctly.
I feel the way she feels. I feel the way she feels.
So always try to remember that we must be cautious that no matter what, when there is an A within a word, that we must make sure the eh part is not only sung, but is sung 99% of its length. So now we get to my all-time favorite vowel. And yes, I'm that much of a voice geek that I have a favorite vowel, this being the vowel aw. One of the problems with aw that I have noticed over the years is a tendency for most singers to round their lips on this vowel. And certainly, this is also a huge contributing factor for regionalisms and accents. Now, I would like to say that out of the 14 vowels that we have in English, only one of them uses the lips, and that is the sound oo. Again, let me restate that. Out of the 14 vowels we have in English, only the sound oo uses the lips. The rest are formed by tongue positioning and jaw opening. Not even the sound O can be considered as a lip-dependent vowel because O is a diphthong which contains the sound oo. It is only the oo portion that uses the lips, not the first half, which is the sound But there is something about aw that makes people want to round the lips off. Let me demonstrate.
I'm going to sing all without rounded lips and then with rounded lips. All, Now watch, I'm going to go through all of these different vowel sounds for you, and I'm going to show you how we really don't need the lips to sing these correctly. Now you saw with the O, I had a rounding at the end because oo is the only vowel that uses rounded lips. So we really do not need to use the lips on these different vowels. As soon as we apply too much lips into everything, it makes everything over-exaggerated and can make it really sound funny. So watch it. Use your mouth more for expression rather than shaping these vowels.
Now, the second challenge surrounding aw is when it is preceded by an R. You see, R's have a tendency to hide vowels or conceal them. And no other vowel is more greatly affected by an R than the vowel aw. One of the first tests that I give students when they start their first day of training with me is what I like to call the torn test. I simply write the word torn and ask them to sing the word. Almost everyone fails this test. First of all, the vast majority of the students round their lips when they sing this word, which sounds like this. Torn. After I ask them, hey, what sound was coming out of your mouth when you were singing that word? Most people say either an O sound, or most people say or. Well, the truth of the matter is that the vowel in this word torn is aw, followed by an R. And I know this is hard to believe, so let me demonstrate this for you.
All right, I'm going to demonstrate the same test that I give to all my students. I'm going to sing torn with rounded lips and then without rounded lips. Let's take a listen. Torn, torn, I'm so torn, torn. Did you hear aw? It is the sound aw. As soon as I round the lips, torn, thinking it's an O sound, it doesn't sound right.
You see, R's do hide vowels. And again, aw is one of the most difficult vowels to sing correctly without being influenced by an R. I often say that R's are the enemy of singers. So whenever you have a word that contains or, whether it's the word born, the word soar, the word adorn, your, worn, or whatever, make sure that you are properly forming the aw vowel correctly without rounding your lips, and try your best not to hold on to the R sound long at all. In fact, the shorter it is, the better. Remember, R's are our enemy, and we don't want to give them any time at all when they fall at the end of or in the middle of a word. To help us with the pitfalls that occur with the R's, we will discuss how to replace the R's altogether with what is known as a schwa sound, and this will be covered in our next lesson in this series. Okay, as far as the mechanics behind performing aw correctly, the mouth opening for aw is 3/4. It is a very open vowel, and because of this, it's very similar to ah. The secondary projection point for ah is 3/4 in the back of the hard palate. So in other words, it starts all the way in the back and ends up 3/4 in the back. Just to let you know, the knowledge of the secondary projection points is not all important. And the only reason I'm mentioning it at all is in case the vowels being taught are not sounding right to you. Many times, it is because of an improper secondary projection point found within these vowels. Now, most dictionaries do give a chart outlining where these points of resonance occur, and again, it can be helpful for you to know this information. It is just not necessary to know it for all the vowels, only the ones that you're having the most difficulties with. So, until next time, I am Stephen Childs of virtualvoicelessons.net, and I would like to say thank you for listening, and God bless.